Welcome to Music for Life. I want to introduce you to Megan Alves, who is a licensed clinical social worker and has taken the music medicine advisory training. And we're going to have a dialogue about why it's important to consider taking one of these music medicine trainings and how it could possibly help you in your life, depending on what level of training you would like to try. So, with this training, Megan, what did you learn about your own personal biases when it comes to choosing music?
Well, definitely. Thank you for the questions and thank you for the program. I definitely enjoyed myself learning something different outside, of my specialty of trauma and really diving into music, which I don't have a background in. So I really shied away from, discussing too much about music with clients. And one of the big things that I learned through your program is that we can sit in our emotions with our music, but I have to have something to calm it down. Where oftentimes I just wanted to sit in those emotions and clients want to sit in those emotions, and then we would turn the radio off and go about our day. But sometimes that music was really playing a part in not allowing my emotions to be validated or sit in those emotions and then calm them down. And so that was definitely an area. Oftentimes I would kind of just be listening to what's on the radio currently and what's out and what's new, where it wasn't always the most settling for me as I kind of went into the rest of my day. So
Mhm.
that was an area that I gained a lot of insight in that I don't think without the program that I really would have paid much attention to be honest.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting, right? Because we have these common practices of how we listen to music, and we don't even think about it because it's instinctive.
Yes.
And what happens is you start learning about, oh, there's chronic comfort zones. What are chronic comfort zones? How does that apply to you don't even think about how music could keep you trapped in chronic
Yeah.
comfort zones that actually keep you stuck in and trapped in anxiety, anger, depression, sadness, and how those emotions might be interpreted differently. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you've got clients that may just say they're energized all the time when you're suspecting they're actually trapped in anger and having
Yeah.
anger management issues, road rage, all of
Mhm.
that, right? And so then it's looking at their music listening habits or like that chronic comfort zone where they might be trapped in anxiety and interpreting as just being excited all the time. Uh,
Right. Yeah, that happens a lot, right? Just being able to understand what the emotions actually feel like. And then when we add a whole other complex but yet beautiful layer of music, it can
mhm,
really help to move emotions, help us validate emotions. So you're you're so right that we I probably wouldn't have even been paying as much mindful attention, right? Like that's something that I teach all the time. And you talk about road rage and I can take it a step further with being mindful with what we're listening to. We can add gratitude in the car to help decrease that road rage, especially in Las Vegas traffic, right? But what are we listening to after that? What are we staying comfortable in listening to that could just be cycling some of those emotions of frustration or anger? Yeah,
mhm.
you're right.
And just the possibility of becoming more aware of what is it that I am feeling and am I categorizing it correctly, right? So, for
Yeah,
instance, thinking that maybe you're just excited all the time when you're actually in anxiety.
right,
And then what triggers it to escalate into more like panic attacks possibly. And then how
right.
can you like do this yourself in managing your moods in such a way that you become so aware of your music listening habits that you start modulating them, so that you can manage that anxiety differently. You're able to neutralize it, significantly reduce it, at the same time being able to deepen the relaxation and
Mhm.
feeling happier. So it's yeah, it's interesting to notice how our music choices um, really resemble our emotional states.
Yeah,
And you've probably heard people say, "Oh, yeah, I listen to, music, whatever my mood is." It's
right.
well, what my mood is to what I listen to, and it's like, "Okay, but."
But right,
Even
yes.
more aware than that, and they could
Mhm.
say, "Well, yeah, but the music soothes me." And it's like, well, if you're stuck in that, if you're trapped in that unsettled mood, there is
Yeah.
an interesting thing that happens with the music where it can feel like you're being soothed, that it's relieving the pressure of the emotion, but it's not getting you out of the entrapment. And so, if you find, I don't know if you know anybody that you work with that reports that they have to listen to music 24/7,
Right. And
right?
you know what was so interesting going back to your program is I remember that there's so many sequences that have you listen to 2 different types of music and really explore how does this make me feel? And it was after a few, like Beethoven type music that I don't normally just put on, but just the change and shift of emotion that I noticed during those times was, and then other music would come on. I'm like, wow, I feel really irritated all of a sudden. And I love the idea of exploring music to get in tuned with how you're feeling. And especially as a clinical therapist, I mean, we have the tools to explore those, but when we take it to another level to bring
Mhm,
mindfulness in on a deeper level and touching base with how did that feel? Where did you feel that in your body? And
mhm,
then learning how to make that shift, like you're mentioning, instead of maybe I'm irritated, maybe it's actually brought too much energy to me and I didn't even pay attention to that
mhm,
before.
mhm.
Mhm.
So, in this training, you took the advisory training, and there's a couple other trainings as well. Um, would you recommend this level for clients? Do you think that it's like a good introductory level for them to be able to grasp what it is? Or do you think as a
Yeah.
therapist that it would go over their head or that it wasn't enough information? How would you evaluate that for others' use?
I love that question. One of the things that I thought about a few times during the training is wow, I am really out of touch with music. I was not raised around music. We listened to music for fun and entertainment, but as far as really getting to understand music and have a connection to music, read music, I mean, that is way above my head. So there was definitely a few times that I had to pause, take a break from it, and then explore it and get a little bit curious about maybe some of the terminology or, just some of the information that was coming at me that was really new to me.
Mhm,
But what do you want to get out of the program, right? And so if you really want to understand and get connected, especially in the advisory training, and if you are new to music, I mean, you can pause it. That's the beautiful part about the program, right? And then you
mhm,
can go back to it and do a little exploration if you need to, or if a term comes up that you need a little bit more understanding. It really wasn't that challenging to go and gain just a little bit more information. Or I'm lucky enough to have 2 kids that are in music and play piano, and I'm like, what do you guys think of this? And they are so insightful with it that I loved that the program also helped me even have conversation with my children, not just alone, my clients, but it was really cool to have them listen to a few of the songs and have conversations about it. And they got curious about it as well. So, going back to your question, do you think it would go over their heads? Yes, maybe. But if you're dedicated in learning something new that can help bring more awareness to how you're feeling and your emotions and different types of music, I think that it doesn't take much effort to pause it and get a little bit more curious and then return back to it with the information. So I wouldn't steer away from it if you have no music background, as I did. Um, and there's definitely, I still would not turn to my clients and give them this plethora of information that I just learned because it's not in my scope of practice, right?
mhm,
But I
mhm.
definitely have a great understanding to help them get curious, and I can ask questions so that I can get curious. For example, I had a client that got curious about her music, and she's like, "Wow, Megan, like it's actually making me really depressed to listen to this music, but it was my favorite music, or so I thought." And so when she started getting curious about it, it was such a beautiful conversation to have. Again, granted, I don't feel like I'm going to go into music treatment with them. That's what your website's for. That's what the programs are for. But it was great to have the conversation as a clinician to get them curious about it too. Because really, that's what our hope is as clinicians, right?
Yeah, and with the with the mental health crisis, it's so important to be able to access do-it-yourself tools, which is what Music for
Yeah.
Life's all about. So the online on-demand trainings, the do-it-yourself tools that are digitized. We have the Key to Me app that you'll see over here, that you can get on Apple or Google stores, and you can actually access prescriptive playlists through the app now. And if anybody's interested in doing the trainings, when you go to the app, you'll be able to access 50% off on the trainings and a free training, as a matter of fact, through there. And then there's also this book that called Thriving Through Adversity that is the companion to the app. And it's
Mhm.
355 pages worth, really documents through dozens of case stories how this protocol called Music for Life, Music Medicine works, and how you might consider applying it in your life, and how to have discussions with others, like you said, Megan, and
Mhm.
being able to talk with your kids, being able to talk with colleagues, being able to talk with somebody in the restaurant or in a car, or, whatever,
Yeah.
about their music builds an empathy and puts us on a more united front as opposed to, oh my God, turn that off. Why are you listening to that?
Yes.
These
I
trainings
love
give you
that.
dialogue, right? About how
Mhm.
to talk about it differently so that you're opening up your awareness, you're providing a way to interact with somebody else that is not divisive. And today there is so much divisiveness. This is a way to bridge that.
I love it. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and you did a great job, being able to explore that for myself, and then when my kids are listening to certain music, and I notice it irritating me, that's a me problem, right? Like, now I get to have a beautiful conversation and they get to tell me like, "Oh yeah, this does feel different." And, there's times that we're in the car and I see them ask for different music depending on what we're doing and they're curious about it. So, it has created a really beautiful dialogue in my home, again, as to reiterate with clients, and I really love the emphasis on being able to have conversation about this that can bridge connection and understanding rather than discord. I mean, we
Yeah.
all of us love music, right? I mean, it's a part of
Yes.
our days.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your willingness to talk about it. Is there anything else that you took away as a value of the training that we didn't cover already?
I loved the case studies. I thought it was, of
Mhm.
course, as a clinician, I really loved to hear about different ways that you utilize this, different ways that your clinicians utilized it. I thought that it was a great way to just get even more curious about how this can help, not just my clients, but I was thinking about family members. I was thinking about, just all types of mental health crisis, of course. So I really enjoyed being able to touch base with those case studies and a lot of the history that comes with the program that you put together. And so I'm excited to check out, the book and the app because I'm sure you have a plethora of information in there too. So thanks for all the work that you're doing with this with the
Oh,
program for sure.
thank you. Thank you, Megan. I look forward to
Yeah.
continuing a partnership.
Yes. Yeah,
All
absolutely.
all right. And thank you. And those that want to explore with Megan her practice in Las Vegas, are you doing virtual as well?
Yes, I have in person and virtual. Yeah.
Okay. So they can reach you at peakmentalhealth.org,
Yes. Yep.
right?
And a new, guided, self-guided website will be coming up very soon for the mental health crisis. So people can continue to learn additional information and knowledge to help them as you're doing as well. You and I have been talking about it. More
Mhm.
information, more the better you do. So that will
Yeah.
be coming out soon as well. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we are so focused on training mental health providers. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining our network, because it's a big job. This mental health
Yeah.
crisis needs all of us.
Yeah.
And now we've got this tool called music that we can dive even deeper into
Yes.
solving issues
Yeah.
with it, we hope. All
Right.
right. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Yeah.
Megan.
Good to see you. Have a good
All right.
day.
Thanks. Bye.